Welcome to the Silhouettes of Success podcast with your host, successful entrepreneur, broker, and business mentor, Amber Weitzer. Because success comes in all shapes, sizes, and styles, the Silhouettes of Success podcast is shining the light on industrious women with a collection of curated conversations of intentional inspiration designed to inspire your heart, ignite your mind, feed your soul, and gift you with actionable insights directly from inspirational, everyday women who've shown tenacity, grit, and grace, having taken on the challenges in their lives and business and won. Remarkable, down-to-earth, and relatable, Amber and her guests will share with you uplifting and extraordinary real-life success stories, motivational ideas that just might help spark something within you. With the deepest desire to serve you, help you grow so you can begin to shine the light that will illuminate your very own silhouette of success. So, let's get to it.
Hello and welcome to the Amber Weitzer podcast, Silhouettes of Success. Our V.I.P. featured guest is president of Cowtown Creative and has spent the last 22 years growing brands and helping business leaders define and refine their brand stories. Her years of study at UTA and SMU primed her for a lifelong pursuit of personal and professional excellence through continuous learning. She's been recognized as a Cox Distinguished Business Leader, is certified in customer service excellence by the Disney Institute, and was recently named among Women's Business Enterprises Outstanding WBE CEOs of 2022. She finds that work-life balance and mental health are imperative. She makes it a part of her company structure for both herself and her team. This includes taking time for family, reading, running, camping, and fishing. Married with 4 children, she is busy. So let's get her on. Silhouettes. Help me welcome Amy Day to the show. Hello, Amy.
Good morning, Amber. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for taking time to join us and share your Silhouette of Success story.
Thank you. Absolutely. I'm just excited to be here.
Awesome. All right, my lady. Let's kick it off by having you share a little bit about yourself and your background with our audience.
Absolutely. So I have 4 kids. I am happily married, live in Burleson, Texas. I attended college at UTA, got my master's degree in communications and strategic leadership from SMU. And I have been the president of Cowtown Creative since I started the business in 2007.
What a great journey. So, what do you think led you to the creative path for what you're clearly everything? And I guess I've got to go back for the audience. Definitely, you'll see all of her contact information in the show notes. But your work is remarkable. You and your team. What do you think inspired you to embark on that career path?
Well, thank you so much for saying that. The team is amazing, and I have to give them credit, and hope I have other opportunities to do so as well. But it was an easy choice for me. I started out, I think, on a path that I thought was going to be medical related. I got into the program real quick, found out that it was not for me. I was already taking some business classes because my dad, being the brilliant businessman that he always said, whatever you do, make sure you have a business background. And so I was already taking those classes. I kind of on a whim entered into some marketing classes, and I just fell in love with it. And with marketing, if you don't know it real well, there's a lot of different paths you can take. I got real lucky. I just ended up out of college in the right role. I got on with a Fortune level company real early, and I had a great mentor in that job. I had a couple of them actually. They really nurtured me and gave me the tools and the education and continuing education that I needed to grow it. And actually, it was in that job that I got the funds to go back to school, and that's when I got my master's degree. So it really has been a passion that I found early on, and knew from the beginning that I was going to want to do it. Now, starting Cowtown is an interesting segue because it happened by mistake, and not really by mistake. It happened because of circumstances that were out of my control and just kind of dominoed into it. And the company that I mentioned that I was working with at the time, I thought it was my dream job. It was a relocation and real estate company, a well-known one. And then the 2007 market crash, and it just really deeply impacted, especially those in that industry. They made a strategic move to downsize. The entire marketing department got cut. And so here I am 3 months from my wedding and without a job. And I did have a severance. And so I decided, I'm just going to wait until I come back from my honeymoon and then see what the situation looks like then and start my job search. And when I came back, as luck would have it, that same company said they had, reached out, sent me some communications and said, we need you to come back as a contractor. We have some unfinished stuff we need help with. Can you do this? And my dad, being the smart guy that he was, said, you need to be smart about this decision and you need to cover your assets and make sure you guys are protected. And so what started with just this, kind of a way for us to safeguard ourselves, especially being a newly married couple, turned into my life's work. I sat with a friend on the phone and, over a weekend, and we hashed out the name, and Cowtown Creative was born on a piece of paper to, the state for our LLC. And now I'm part of what has become a brand that is empowering women and helping to grow community in and around Fort Worth.
Well, now talk about making an impression. Wow. So the pieces of the puzzle truly came together.
They did.
And the blessing in disguises, time off for the wedding, go
Yep.
relax. Oh, wow.
Got a
What a
little severance
great.
package, got to relax a little while, just focus on what I needed to. And then they really did. They just kind of, those dominoes fell in a very favorable position.
And you were able to see, and of course, I know you've mentioned your dad already twice, so we'll touch on that later too. Um, but you were able to see really the potential within that challenge with some guidance, of course. But you jumped on it, and you all
Mhm.
took it and have. Wow. Okay. So in the times that we're in, we get to see all these amazing things, what everybody's doing in their life and their careers and the successes. We clearly know that if we take a hard look, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Um,
Mhm.
but sharing best practices with what you're able to accomplish successfully and what you all are doing, changing with all these storytellings and redefining brands and doing all these great creative things. The alarm clock goes off and your work or business day begins. And you've already mentioned the household, busy household.
Mhm.
What does a day in the life look like for you? Are you structured with routine? Are you more spontaneous? Talk to us about that.
I am not a spontaneous person at all. In fact, when summer comes and the kids are out of school, I do not feel as mentally healthy as I do whenever they're back in school and we have a lot of structure.
Uh-huh.
I do have four kids, 13, 11, 6, and 2. And so they're busy, and every day looks a little bit different, especially with whatever we have going on in the evenings. But I do have a pretty structured routine. Once they're off to school, I'm going to get up with them and get all their stuff together and get them out the door. My husband and I usually split them up and, we'll take whatever crew to school or to athletics. But then once I return from about 8 to 3 is my work time. And I can really, buckle down and focus in a quiet house or office on what I have to do for the day. I mentioned this team that I have been lucky enough to identify and build. And so they really help me and I help them to where we each can have work life balance, which you mentioned is really important to us. So that being said, once it's time for the kids to get out of school, that's my time again for them. And so I do everything I can to be a part of their pickup and all of their evening activities. I've got one in archery, one in select softball, and another in baseball. And so, depending on the evening, that's where we're at. And then once they're in bed, um, it's again, back to the computer and I'll kind of finish out the day. So I still get a solid, 8 to 10 hours, depending on what I do at night. But we still have a lot of that quality family time, which is really important.
Divide and conquer.
That's exactly what we do.
That's that's what comes to mind, divide and conquer. Well, hearing you share that, there is definite sense of mission within everything that you shared. So that structure probably is just priceless.
It is. It really is.
As a independent business owner, where do you, and especially a creative, right, independent owner, business owner, where do you turn to for support?
You know, for me, I can't say enough about family and community. And I know that not everyone has it. So I do recognize how lucky I am that I do. My family is the first line of support. I mean, my husband is he's also a business owner, so we support each other in that. We make sure that we make the right time, that we know what's going on in each other's work, so we can help support when the other one needs it. And he's just great at that. Our extended family, which ends up locally mostly being his family, is also fantastic at that and helping us with what we need so that we both can run our businesses effectively. We live in a fantastic community. We're surrounded by some amazing people. Church is everything to us, and so that definitely feeds into that. And then this network, which I hope I get to speak about a little bit more, but building a network inside of your business where you have either complementary or supplemental businesses that you know and you've made connections with and that you can lean on them either when work gets tight and you need extra hands or just for support. Having someone you can reach out to get advice, that has been critical for me. And I did not realize that earlier on in my career. So it's become almost an epiphany as I've matured in this role and grown the business. And then I can't say enough about having a local banker. I mean, it's kind of easy to go with your big chain banks, but getting someone who's local and knows your business and that you can call by name and get on your side is really instrumental in the growth of the business.
I want to go back because you talked about hoping to expand on your network. Let's just do that now. Let's just stay in this whole line. 'Cause you talked about the banker, and let's stay with that. So tell us about the network. I suspect that they are there to help you get unstuck when you're trying to reach a goal or dream or barrier breakdown. Talk to us about your network.
Well, so it really comes down to what is something that you wish that you had known earlier on in your career and that maybe took you a while to develop. And I've thought a lot about this question. I've been asked it a lot. It's really easy to say, an accountant or a great attorney who can put together your business contracts. And those are two big things that may have taken me a little while, but it wasn't until just a few years ago, it's been in the recent past, that I had this unique opportunity to sit down with a professional business incubator. And one of the questions that he had asked me was, expand on your lead sources. Let's talk about where your business comes from and what that client looks like when they walk in your door. And so we're on a whiteboard and we're kind of, going through this and I'm mapping out. And I run through all the basics. I'm like, our website forms, we're doing some LinkedIn campaigns, we've got some Google ads running, and these things that's kind of in our nature, right, as marketers. And so this is what we tell our clients to do. And so of course we're doing it for ourselves. And it was producing results. You've got a lot of time and a lot of money put into those tactics, and they were doing what I thought they should be doing. But he turns around and he looks at me and he goes, I'm confused. Like, where are the referrals? And I just kind of stopped there and I'm like, I guess I get a couple, here and there, like if I have a happy client. And he was like, this, you've got to twist this around. It should be very top heavy. 75% plus is in our industry on the leads. Like, you've got to be coming in from your referrals and from your network. And up until that point, I really had been working harder, not smarter. And I had been putting all the time and efforts into tactics. And those tactics, like I said, they work, they have a place. But I had overlooked the power of who you know and building upon the community and the networks of professionals, especially we have here in the Metroplex. And so it was at that point where I completely pivoted and I stopped looking as the number one being the tactics and the money we were pouring into advertising. And I put my focus on networking and the referral business, and it was a game changer. We have experienced exponential growth over the years since that meeting, due in large part to building that referral network. And I really had wished that I had, discovered it earlier, but it's been hugely beneficial.
Well, that is a true game changer.
Hmm.
When we sit there and think, okay, what do I wish someone would have told me before I, went into my business or started my business or went into this career? That is something everybody should have written down just now, that what you shared, what you experienced. Do you have a preferred way to network or to nurture your referrals? Is there one best practice, or is that more confidential?
No, I don't think it's confidential. I think the easiest way is finding a group that you identify with.
Uh-huh.
I sampled. I definitely made the route. I kind of mapped out several different groups that I knew about in Fort Worth, and I attended them. And the first couple of ones, they weren't what I needed. They were they were smaller. They definitely thought that I could invest in them, but they weren't going to necessarily have the position or the type of business that could invest in my company. And so I just made my rounds, and then I found a couple that were the opposite of that. They were business professionals. They were, especially with a marketing agency, I needed businesses that needed those types of services, and that
Mhm.
the return on that for them is that I need their services as well. And so you just have to really figure out, depending on what industry you're in or what field you're in, what are the groups where you can find a mutually beneficial connection with
That win-win we always talk about.
people. And then ask. That's the other thing that we always tell people. We're like, you don't know if you don't ask. Ask for the Google review. Ask for the referral. They won't necessarily think about it. You're always likely to get negative feedback, not positive feedback. I think people know that. But in that same vein, asking for the positive when you know it has been is something that happy customers are likely to do for you.
Love that. Love that. Thinking on your days and what works best for you, how do you rest and recharge your mindset after maybe an emotionally exhausting situation or project? What works for you?
That's a great question. With 4 kids, I'm in a season right now where it does not feel like rest or relaxation comes real easily. Um, you know, Daily, that would be running. I feel like the physical exertion kind of helps offset any kind of mental stress that I have. And that's how I get that is through just run on the street. But overall, when it's not the daily, I mean, just really disconnecting with the family. We camp a lot and fish, and getting outdoors and doing those kind of things with them as often as possible. We try to do it at least once a month, and I do not take my computer with me.
Good for you. Good for you. And it could be a perfect segue. Thinking through what you've accomplished and your silhouette of success journey, what positive adjustments have you made within your life or environment to help support your growth goals and dreams?
I love that question. I mentioned earlier that I used to work harder and not smarter. And I think back on those early years and just how true that statement is. I used to just wear a lot of hats. I used to think that it was better, that it made me more professional if I was a jack of all trades, that would make me more appealing. And I realized that I was wearing myself out. I was working way too many hours. I was missing out on too much of other things outside of work, and it wasn't working. And my mental health, I think, was suffering at that time. And so, I got to a point too where I realized that if I had the right people around me, I didn't need to, nor should I have to be doing it all. That it was okay to empower those people. And so I've built this team of amazing women, each of whom add something really powerful to the company's value proposition. And so when we couple that with the best business practices that we've put in place, like I was talking about with generating our leads mostly through referrals, it's really allowed me to strike a work-life balance that finally feels healthy to me. So I spend my time outside of work. I read in my Bible, I pray. I make it a point to be there for the kids as much as possible. Like I said, I like to run, and that's something enjoyable to me. And so now that I've got this better balance with life, I'm noticing, and the girls, the women that I work with share the exact same feelings. And so we love the fact that we get to see the business thrive, but I think that has so much to do with the people that are thriving inside it.
Very, very true. Very true. Thinking about that and then touching on, because you did mention again earlier, you'd like to talk more about the team. This could be another perfect segue or good time to talk about this. So, some of the milestone successes that or accomplishments, accolades that you have, and whether it's just something special to you or something special with the team. This is about you. It's completely your story. Is there a favorite that you'd like to share with the audience or talk to us about?
So one of the things that I love about what we get to do is that I feel and have felt led in, especially in the last couple of years, as we've experienced success, I have felt a calling or a gut to help other women grow their business too. What can we do to help make sure that other women can experience success? There's some things that businesses jump right into and they think, if I just have this, if I just do this, I can be successful or I can get my name out there. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't do the full circle. They don't take all the steps. So they put a website out there, but they don't know how to, what's the next step. So I had told the team a couple of years ago that I really wanted to get to a point where we could bless another business, a woman owned business, with a marketing package completely complimentary. We would work through to understand exactly what her goals were. The support from this team to get behind this idea, to lend their skill to it, to meet with the business owner has just been an amazing thing to watch. And we just held our first contest. It was the whole month of August, and we invited women business owners really in and around Texas. We had from surrounding states as well to nominate someone that they knew or themselves for this contest, and that we would have a panel that would decide on the winner. And we did the first week of September, and we awarded her, and we have already finished her package. And so just watching what we've been able to give to this business and how it has so deeply rewarded and enriched our team, because we learned from it, in the process. And there were things that we've never worked with a business like hers. Not, her structure was very different and kind of what she's trying to accomplish with her and her family. And again, a work-life balance story as a single mom. And so we were blessed with that ability to get to know her and build that relationship, and also help her business in the meantime. So that's something I've been really proud to be a part of. And as we look to the future, really want this to be a program that we instate on at least an annual basis and continue to help women like her.
Well, it's rewarding. It must be so fulfilling. And especially that you felt that calling to do that and then to see it through completion. What a blessing.
I hope so. She definitely feels that way, and so it has been for us as well. So there's definitely mutual benefit there.
Wow. What a gift. What a gift. And I saw that contest. It was very intriguing. It was beautifully put out there. So, as
Oh, thank
expected.
you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. So, this may be more of a two-part question. Thinking through your journey, was there ever a specific point or event where in your business, whether it was your career now or previous, that really forced you to take a monumental shift? And it may have been the one you shared earlier, but going through that experience, positive or painful, how did going through that help you grow?
It actually probably wasn't the start of the business. 2020. I think that a lot of people probably point to that year for a variety of reasons, but think about, one of the things that no one ever talked about was how it affected marketing and advertising. But you think about that and how much turmoil was happening in business. So it probably is not hard to understand that business is completely backed away from advertising and marketing. If we don't know our business is going to be here tomorrow, why do we want to invest in the marketing of it today? And so our business disappeared. And when I say disappeared, we had 5 major proposals out on March 13th, 2020. Not a single one of those were signed. So it was like a light switch had just been turned off. We had the phone stopped ringing. It was just the worst kind of quiet. And it was scary. But, one of the things that we know as marketers and what research points to, and there are credible sources out there that talk about this, but that businesses will maintain or increase, that those businesses that do maintain or increase their advertising during tough times, and especially during recessions, they average higher sales during that period and then for about 3 years after the period wraps. We've been preaching this to our clients forever. We're like, fill your funnel. Don't ever stop filling the funnel. Even whenever you feel like you've got too much business, if you turn the funnel off, those clients are not going to be there when you need them to be. And 2020, all of a sudden, we're sitting there facing, really, for the first time, this need to heed our own advice. Thankfully, EIDL funds were available to us. And so what we decided to do was to take that opportunity to keep the team working. We doubled down. We focused almost entirely all of our efforts on Cowtown Creative. And we rebranded the business. We built a new website. We focused on SEO. We did a lot of content. We did a ton of social media engagement, and we were running Google ads. And by the time that 2020 was wrapping and some of those businesses were starting to come out, our funnel was full and people were coming back. And so we absolutely reaped the benefits of that decision, and we came out a stronger company with a better team for the experience.
Phenomenal. And you put in the time, you did the work, and you heeded your own advice. Not easy to do sometimes.
It's not. It's really not. That, especially with that one, because there were just so many unknowns, and with so many businesses failing, it was a really tough one to keep the nose down on, for sure.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Amy, we all crave great resources that may help inspire or uplift, expand our minds. Sometimes, like we've talked about, maybe getting through those rough patches. Do you have a favorite book or a resource or mentor that you would like to share with the audience?
So, without trying to get too wordy here, I am a huge fan of continuous learning. So, I just feel like there's so much knowledge out there, especially industry or field specific, almost too much in some instances. But, I'm always looking for the experts that you can subscribe to their emails or their webinars. I personally spend a couple of hours each week kind of going through those materials and learning what I can. And in marketing, we're going to get swallowed up real quick if we don't stay on top of the latest trends and what's happening. So it's necessary for us to do that, and I push my team to do that as well and stay on top of those certifications and what have you. But from purely a like what would be my number one recommendation is to any women business owner is the Women's Business Enterprise National Council. You've probably heard of them as WBENC. So this is the certifying organization for women-owned businesses. Certification, yes, it's a little bit cumbersome the first time around, but the reward is so worth it. This is a community of women supporting women. There are a lot of businesses out there that just want to give their business to other women-owned businesses, or there's getting some kind of tax benefit from doing so. They have a bid platform, so you can look for those businesses that are seeking to do business with women. They have educational opportunities, and then of course you just cannot get enough of that networking. And there's at least monthly opportunities to go in person and meet with women locally. They're all over. They're national, but there are regions. And so locally here in the DFW Metroplex, they meet in Irving once a month, and they'll have a keynote speaker, and then opportunities for roundtables and networking your own business. And I just can't say enough about the benefit that they bring to the business.
Well, 3 cheers to you for sharing that. They are a powerhouse and a wonderful advocacy.
They are, yep.
They do a lot. And if I can give Bliss a plug, under her leadership too.
Yes, yes,
So,
absolutely.
oh my goodness. I'm watching the time and I sure want to respect your schedule, but I have a couple quick questions. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Okay, super. So again, we're going to wrap up here, but these are important because I want to make sure we showcase you and your business and everything you're doing. Would you happen to have a piece of key go-to advice or intentional inspiration that you either carry with you that has resonated with you or that you share with others that you'd want to share with the audience?
I do. And I am grateful for the opportunity to share it because this is, again, one of those things that it took me so long to realize this. And my team, we try to remind each other of this on a regular basis because imposter syndrome, especially in women, is alive and well. And it is so easy to doubt the value that you bring to a business deal, especially when what you bring comes easy for you. So remember this, if it takes you minutes to complete a task, it's because you've been doing it for years. Customers aren't paying for the minutes, they're paying for those years.
Wow.
But that's difficult, because you're in a situation you're going, gosh, I feel kind of bad for charging these prices because it's just so easy for me. Like I could just buzz through it. Well, there's a reason for that. It's because you've been building on this. You've been building on the experience. It's taking you a few minutes. It takes other people hours or days or weeks. It just depends on what
Right.
it is. But you cannot short sell yourself. That imposter syndrome, especially in women, is a tough thing to combat.
Profound, profound. Thank you for sharing that with us. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
Yes. Oh, love that. Rendered me speechless. All right, milady. We've got to let you go, and I don't want to, but we're going to. So, where can our audience go to find and connect with you on your socials or website to support you in your continued success?
Absolutely. I would love that. Our website is www.cowtowncreative.com. You can email us at info@cowtowncreative.com, and you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn under Cowtown Creative.
Fantastic. And again, we will have all of those links. So it is just a click away to connect with you. But I always want to give you the stage and share that information yourself. Amy, it has been so enjoyable and so rewarding hearing your story and visiting with you. You are a true light and inspiration for us all. Thank you for sharing your silhouette of success.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Amber. I sure do appreciate it. And thank you for allowing me to come here and talk to you. I enjoyed it as well.
It has been a pleasure, my lady. Until next time.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Silhouettes of Success podcast. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on all the new episodes. We are here for you and with you. We encourage you to share this podcast on all your socials and pass on the light to help illuminate another silhouette of success. To find out the latest ways to inspire your heart, ignite your mind, and gain actionable insights, subscribe at thesilhouettesofsuccess.com or connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. We're grateful that you tuned in. Remember, you are exactly where you need to be, right here with us. This is the Amber Weitzer podcast, Silhouettes of Success.